Hi, my name is Hector Acuna, and I'm coming to you today from quarantine here in Lansing, Michigan, from my home studio. In this video, you're going to see an in-depth tour of a sketchbook, a Moleskine sketchbook that I've carried with me over the past year and used pretty regularly during my MFA candidacy at Michigan State University. And if you enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the thumbs up or share with anyone that might be interested. If you want to see more of my work, you can go to my website at acunaarts.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at acuna_art. So that's all I have to say for now, and enjoy the video. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so before I get into the sketchbook, I did want to just mention that at my website, acuniaarts.com, I have a portfolio gallery just with sketchbook pages that I've done over the past 7 years. I think there's at least 8 to 10 different sketchbooks that I'm pulling from in this portfolio. So if you like sketchbooks, check more of them out on my website. I don't have video tours of all of them, so I just wanted to give a shout out to that. But let's go ahead and check this out. So this is a large Moleskine. I bought it about a year ago during my last year of graduate school. And some of the drawings in here that I'm going to show are in chronological order. Some of them I went back and filled in empty areas of the page. But getting past the front cover, here are some of the first drawings that I did in the sketchbook that are with colored pencil. And they're just sort of goofy cartoon kind of shapes and characters. I was thinking about different color theories and color properties. I had just finished teaching a color and design class, so I was eager to implement some of that theory into my drawings. And I was just playing around with generating different kinds of images. So a lot of these drawings, I didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted to make. I just started drawing, and then this is what came out of it. And I think this is one of the best things about having a sketchbook, is that you don't have to create a finished product. You don't have to worry about refining an idea. This is the area where you can focus on the process, and you can focus on building an idea or exploring an idea. So a lot of these are just different aspects of that process of just kind of playing around with colored pencils. Right around this time, I was also making murals. So these are some of the first murals that I've ever made. This is a large collaborative mural in East Lansing, Michigan, called A Groovy Opportunity. And this gallery is also on my website. These are some of the images of things that I created on the mural, and they're taken directly from sketches in my sketchbook. So I bought the sketchbook a few weeks before we were working on the designs for the murals. So it's kind of cool to see the original idea and then watch where it sort of manifested in a larger sense in a physical location. Here's some other kind of goofy drawings, just weird inventions of kind of bodily subject matter, thinking about inventing things that are sort of uncanny and familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. So here we have some more colored pencil work. And some of these are just quick layered drawings, nothing too in-depth. Here's some landscapes. I was looking at murals from Tom Crew. They're a duo that make murals that are really painterly, and I really love the way that they simplify and abstract really complex images, especially landscapes. So that's what I was doing on that past page. This is just a large sort of conglomerate of different ideas. I was thinking about just playing around with eyes, having multiple eyes or multiple limbs, and again, just sort of pushing the expected form of the human body. This is one of the first drawings that incorporates both pages of the sketchbook, so I was starting to really play with scale and just thinking about areas that could be really dense and really complicated and areas that are a little bit more open and playful. The robin on the right side of this spread was a sketch that I did in preparation for another mural last summer that I created in downtown Lansing, titled Robin. Here's the full mural. Here's the robin that I painted with acrylic latex paint. Unfortunately, the mural was sort of covered up and tagged by somebody. I don't know who. So unfortunately, you can't see the mural anymore. Here's some other just kind of fun sketches, ideas that I was thinking about for possible murals in the future. You can see this play of cartoonish forms with more representational forms, drawing with a green colored pencil. I also had purchased a set, like an intro set of ink pens and ink from Winsor & Newton. So these are some sketches where I was kind of testing that and playing with using ink and fountain pens, which I'd never done before. But as you'll notice, there's a lot of notes and just written ideas in these sketchbooks that I have. And usually that's because the writing is documenting a thought that I'm having for projects with school. Things, especially because I was in my last year of graduate school, I was really trying to contain and organize a lot of my thoughts that were going to influence my final project, my thesis project. Which I'll get to in a little bit here, but here are some of the early sketches that I had for what this large three-dimensional structure could be for my project. So outside of my sketchbook, I like to make paintings, I like to make larger drawings, stop-motion animations, and sculptures. So I knew early on that I wanted to build sort of an environmental sculpture, something that was larger than the viewer, and that would have that would incorporate other media like painting and drawing and animation. So some of these drawings that you're seeing are concepts for this large form, especially like this one here. There's aspects of a barn and a landscape. So my thesis project sort of eventually became centered on this image of a barn that I grew up with in southeast Wisconsin. And I was thinking about my experiences in southeast Wisconsin, and reflecting on aspects of belonging and my identity, and thinking about the ways that I've been perceived by the public. And this question and these ideas are things that I've continued to think about and reflect upon in my studio practice as I get older and as I find myself in new communities of people. So on this page, you're seeing a self-portrait drawing with kind of a phthalo green colored pencil and graphite. And this was one of the first drawings in the sketchbook that I really put a lot of hours into. So before this one, most of the drawings were relatively fast. I think anywhere from 5 minutes to half an hour. But the page with the self-portrait that you just saw, I think that was probably like 4 hours of drawing. So then that kicked off this sort of challenge where I wanted to see what I could create with longer amounts of time on one page. So here's another drawing that was probably 5 hours, 5.5 hours of drawing. And this drawing process is just slowly building up layers of graphite. And this is a process that I use a lot when I'm painting with oil painting, where I'm trying to create this illusion of volume or depth through very thin layers of material. And I like this because you can really bring out subtle shifts in form and subtle shifts in texture. So I like this kind of hint of hair that's on this limb, or the like long, straight flowing hair on the other side. And just these little tiny details that the viewer will find after looking for a little bit of time. I think the more I'm creating imagery, the more that's something that I'm attracted to, is this slow reveal of information. And sometimes that information is really weird and kind of silly or just strange. And I like that kind of play on shifting the mood on the viewer. Here's just a few more pages. Some of these things were drawn for paintings. Here's some more sketches for my thesis project. So eventually I decided to make a full barn form that was scaled down for my thesis project. And I was thinking about how I could incorporate the animation through video monitors or through projection. And I was just constantly writing down my ideas. So that's where you're seeing a lot of this text come in. And if you want to read any of those pages, again, just go check out my sketchbook gallery. A lot of these pages with the writing are featured there. Here's a self-portrait with more of these thesis project drawings. I was also writing for artist statements and just other sort of artist documents. And this is why I love sketchbooks, is because they essentially become this time capsule. These are some arch measurement drawings, sort of blueprint drawings, architectural drawings for actually building this barn structure for my thesis project. I'm not much of a construction enthusiast. I don't have a lot of experience with construction, so I really had to use my sketchbook to visualize how I would actually build this. So you can see here in the barn gallery, this is the work installed at the Eli and Edith Broad Art Museum in East Lansing. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, the shows still hasn't opened as of mid-May. We're hoping that by the end of summer, the museum will reopen and the show will be seen by the public. But here's a lot of the preparation and just the thought process that went into building this project. And the project has multiple components. So there's the large barn that you've seen drawings for and imagery of. There's a miniature barn, and then there's a large painting that's 12 feet tall and 10 feet wide. So in this sketchbook, you'll see some of the concepts. Like here's a sketch I had for the painting at one point, which depicts the interior of this barn space. So my thesis project, it took this object or this image of a very specific barn and sort of layered and mirrored itself in multiple ways. So the viewer, once they're able to see the show, will start to notice where things are overlapping and where images are reoccurring throughout different media and different forms of representation. Here's the sort of sketch drawing of the large painting, the 12-foot tall painting, which is a self-portrait inside of the interior of the barn. And I was just thinking a lot about symbols and what kind of objects or what kind of symbols I wanted to have in this painting. I knew early on that I was going to bring various juxtapositions of stereotyped images of Midwest American culture and Latino or Mexican culture. So that's where I've noticed a lot of tension in my own life with my identity, where people aren't really sure where to place me in terms of a ethnic group. And for me, I've always struggled to kind of navigate that conversation because I grew up in a very particular place away from a lot of the traditions of a Mexican family. So it's created a rich place for me to ask questions about identity and questions about ethnicity and belonging and social groups. But a lot of the documentation for the exhibition is on my website. If you'd like to see the full show through imagery, please do. Some of these drawings that you're seeing are ones that I completed pretty much at the very end of this sketchbook. There are areas of the page where I had to go back, and I didn't want to let this nice paper go to waste, so I was just returning to empty pages and drawing in different ideas. Sometimes they were, characters that I was starting to develop, just ideas for paintings, ideas for the thesis project. So some of these pages just accumulate a lot of different kinds of imagery, which I think is healthy. I think it allows you as the artist to continue to think about what you don't already know and to find or discover really interesting ideas or images. So sometimes having these different concepts or these different experiments on the same page opens your imagination up to a new idea that you wouldn't have found prior. So this is one of the other big reasons why I love having a sketchbook, and I love really investing time and energy into this this object. Here's one of the last drawings I made in the sketchbook. This was probably about 5 or 6 hours of drawing. You can see areas where there's really subtle shifts in value and form, areas that are more design navigated, where I'm thinking more about shape and thinking about the direction of line or this illusion of texture or atmosphere. but we're almost at the end. This is pretty much the last page. So this was one of the other final drawings that I made in the last month. And yeah, I was just thinking about the figure. I was thinking about maybe this scene from a narrative that I might explore. And here's the back cover. So that pretty much sums it up. As you can see, there were a lot of different ideas in this sketchbook, a lot of things I tried out, things I'm happy helped other projects, but you should definitely have a sketchbook. Thanks for watching. See ya.